Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV, and hello to our friends listening on Business Talk Radio out of New York. I am Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is the Mallorca Connection. Joining me always is the gentleman who is on Mallorca. He has become quite a good friend. He is an expert strategist. He's a serial entrepreneur. He is a mentor and a coach, and he is helping people all across the world really find value and listen to their intuition. Instead of filling up our cup with all of these things outside of our lives, we need to fill it up from within. And he's helping people do that. Let's welcome him to the show. It's Mr. Roland Friedl. Hello there.
Hello, Dr. Jacalyn. Hello, Dr. Jacalyn. How are you doing?
Fantastic. How are you doing today?
I'm good. You look amazing, like always. You look so amazing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And it's nice to see you. We met a little while ago today. I feel like we're on this journey together. We were talking about the book that's coming out. So I'm just happy to be on this journey with you, Roland. Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor and a pleasure.
So our show today is very special. We were having a great conversation backstage with our guest. And before we bring him out, I just want to spotlight you. And as I mentioned in the intro, you really are doing some amazing things to help people, I want to say, get out of their own way, but it's a lot deeper than that. So I'm going to ask you to just share a little bit about you and your background and how it is that you are helping people.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm very mission-driven person since I'm a little boy, and so I'm living the dream I always wanted to live. So I dedicated my life to support people, and I started 3.5 decades a consulting coaching company out of a lot of experience for myself, as I have experience as a salesperson, as an entrepreneur, as a manager, in different roles in the corporate world, but also in running my own business. So what I learned from this and from myself, from my own experience and from other top managers in the world, is that they're successful, very shiny life in the outside, but the inside, they're mostly empty. They're burnout, they don't feel good, they have any form of addiction to distract or from their emptiness. And so I dedicated my life to not only support the leaders and their organization to be more successful in the general way of doing more business, but also to be more successful as a person, meaning to have a purposeful, fulfilled life, meaning getting energized. What I always see, and it was my own experience many years ago, because when I was married young and I had 3 boys, I was working and this treadmill. And the more successful I became, the more golden became the treadmill. And we all know that gold is a very heavy material. So this was even more heavy, this treadmill, to turn around. And the less I spent really my life, living my life. I just was working, being part of this establishment, being a part of this society, of this performance society, to be successful. And I forget about my family. I didn't have time to see my kids really raising. I brought them nice gifts and presents, but I was not present by myself. And there was we had this conversation before. There was this turnaround when I was thinking about my life. What the hell I'm doing here? And changing my life. And I found out I'm not the only person. There's so many people outside, mostly male people, but more and more female people who come to top positions who are really empty. So I'm not only helping, as I mentioned before, to be a more successful leader in the organizations, be more successful as an organization, but also to help them when they come back home, meaning after a day full of work, coming home energized, being energetic, being happy, being fulfilled. So they have time to spend they have the time and the energy to spend the time with their kids, with their beloved ones, and not sitting in front of a TV or going to a nightclub or to a restaurant and having any form any kind of addiction of eating too much sex or any drugs or whatever it is. It's really being in a healthy way, in a balanced way, and spending time with family and friends, and yeah, having fun, living. That's what what drives me.
Very well stated, and I can really relate to what you were sharing. It's almost as though, and I'm guilty of this myself, that we hide in plain sight. And what I mean by that is we're on the treadmill of the work and we're busy with the work, and we're just basically hiding there in the work, taking the feelings that we have and shoving them down while we just keep doing the same thing over and over again. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had some negative experience in my past with all these traumas, and I learned by myself, but I also have been educated by my parents and by my education system to hide my especially as a male, as a male human being, to hide emotions, because showing emotions means you're weak. And I guess this is one of the worst things we can do to our kids and to ourselves, not being an emotional being. So, because we as a human being, and when you see it holistically, of course we have the rational part, but we also have the emotional part, we have the institutional part, and we have the spiritual part. But as my brother in arms, we bring him on stage later, Mirko is always saying we have been domesticated. So we de-domesticated it. We forgot about this thing. We've only focused, especially in the business world, about the rational part, and forget about the emotional part and the international part, the spiritual part. And this is not a healthy way. Absolutely not.
It's interesting, Roland. I met with one of my coaches earlier today, and as much self-care and self-improvement and personal development that I personally do for myself, I realized that I'm still guilty of shoving my feelings down. I have a lot of emotions that I've been pushing down recently that I wasn't even aware because I'm so busy doing what I'm doing. And so I think for people who are out there today, it's a lifelong practice that we need to learn these skills and what it is that really does bring us joy. And we've got someone backstage who really can talk about that, giving up that whole superficial world and sacrifices that needs to be made. And I don't think we talk about that enough, is about, in order to get to where you want to go, you have to sacrifice certain things. We can't have everything and think that that's actually going to make us happy. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I can absolutely relate to this, Dr. Jacalyn, because, well, we, as I said before, we are so driven by being successful, by making money, by buying material stuff. And I always say we work like hell to buy things we can't afford, to buy things that we can't afford. We don't need to impress people we don't like. And most of the people are in this treadmill. Yeah, I was the same person. You know my story. I raised up in a lower middle class family, so there we had no own house. We just a rental apartment. I guess my father bought his first car. I was already 9 years old. I don't remember exactly, something like that. So lower middle class. So I was really hungry, to be more successful, to have a nice car. Because at this time, in the 80s, car means independence. You can go to the next village, to a discotheque or whatever. So I was very driven to be successful being successful. And what does this mean in a Western culture, being successful? It means you show to your outer world the things you're attached to. Yeah, you have a nice house, you can travel, you have a nice car, whatever it is. All this material stuff that you show others, and you think this is success because you learn it from commercials, from TV, from today we say influencers and stuff like that. Yeah, this is success, and we believe this bullshit. And I was the same person. I believed this bullshit. I will never forget when I bought my first sports car. It was a hell of money. A hell of money. Some people are working a whole life to afford a car. Yes. And I bought this car, and I had to wait almost 2 years from ordering to delivery. And I had this car. I will never forget this. And I was driving this car for the first time. And I was sitting in this car. I was enjoying the car, but I had a very bad night, or this dark nights, this depression night. And I was sitting in the car and I said, "Shit! I feel I have the same bad emotions like I had before." So the car didn't change anything. Didn't change anything, because I was sitting in the car. It was me. It was me with my anxieties, with my doubts, and stuff like that. It was just me. The outer world doesn't help me. And that's what I learned, to work on myself. And material things when you can afford it, it's nice to have, but it doesn't make you happy. If you're not happy before, it doesn't make you happy. Absolutely.
Thanks for your transparency. One more quick story, and then we'll bring out our guest. I remember so well, I was in New York. I was at the Christian Dior store, and I wanted whatever the latest shoes were. And they had these beautiful jeweled sandals. They only had 8 pairs left, and Celine Dion had a pair. And I was like, if she has a pair of these shoes, I have to have them. They had jewels all around. Well, the bottom line is that I wear a size 8 and they only had a 6.5. That was the closest size. So I thought, I don't even care if they fit or not. I must have these shoes. So I bought the shoes. And of course, the first time I wore them, they broke because they were too small. But yet thousands of dollars, I was consumed with the shoes, but it was still me with all my flaws, now trying to shove my foot into a shoe that was a size and a half too small. And I thought, you really have some issues you need to work on. So
yeah, and that's exactly the point. I mean, it's nice to enjoy things, but we always have to realize the things are there for us, but mostly we are there for the things, and this is the wrong way.
Exactly. Well, without further ado, I'm going to spotlight you. Please do introduce our guest. I can't wait to get him out here.
Yeah, me too. I'm very excited to bring this guy on stage. Actually, we never met in person. This is very curious, in the last 2 years when we have this pandemic. Oh, sorry, I used the L inside. We have this pandemic. My social life was very much virtually because we couldn't travel, we couldn't even leave the house. So I spent some time on social media, not too much, but some time. And I connected with Mirko. Because Jacalyn before, and I think on Mallorca we organized yoga retreats and spiritual events. So I contacted him; he was interested. So the contact started like that, and then I saw his postings, and what I realized is this is a very authentic person, very real, and very, very deep. He goes very deep into things, and so we started a conversation, and then I said, okay, I have to bring this person to our show to present it to a broader audience, because he does an amazing job on himself and other people supporting their lives to be happy. Yeah, that's why I'm really, really happy that he had the time. I know he's traveling around, and I guess he's now in the same country like myself in Spain. So I'm very happy to bring him on stage. Mirko, yes.
Let's welcome Mirko to the program. Hi, welcome.
Hi, guys.
Hi, brother.
Nice to meet
Good to see you.
Hey. How are you?
Nice to see you. I learned so much from you backstage in just that short 10 minutes. And I love, you're so authentic. You're so real. And you talked about the journey that you've been on. And I think that all of us are on a journey. Sometimes we don't even realize it. Sometimes we're just on that treadmill, just doing what it is we have to do. And then other times we make major changes in our life that require big sacrifices. And sometimes we make the sacrifices and we're angry about it. We're still lost. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your backstory to share with our audience.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that when Roland talked, what came to my mind is something I've been saying, over and over again to the people that I work with when I give my workshops, seminars, etc. Is that I'm someone that has been trained on the playground, in the action adventure park, planet Earth. Sometimes you can call it a battlefield, but that's where I've been trained on, and I've been trained for 56 years. That's how long I've been here in this incarnation, in this body, as this character, in this show, in this Truman Show on planet Earth. And I have been doing my best, I think, I always wanted to figure out where's the limit to authenticity and action adventure, and to living life to the fullest. That was not a conscious thought when I was like 12, 13, 14, 15, etc. But I always had that energy within me, that drive within me. And that always forced me, basically, I didn't really have a choice. It forced me to challenge the status quo. And I grew up in a very small village, in a relatively small city in southern Germany, in Bavaria, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And that was very Catholic, conservative, and a little bit behind the moon. People were very small-minded. Things were done by the book. And here comes this little kid and starts very early on to be different and to do things differently. And that was the best training I could have for what would happen, later in my 20s, 30s, and 40s, when I really got out of the matrix and challenged the matrix and challenged myself. And I'm 56 now. I think I had 14 different careers. I lived in 4, 5, 6, 7 different countries. I left Germany without having a visa. I came to the United States without having a visa, without having a work permit. And when I finally, after 10 years, got my American citizenship, I left for Mexico, and I started all over and did the whole thing again. So, and we talked about this backstage. Sacrifices were needed. And so I had to live my dream and my vision. I had to let go of many, many things that were taught to me that were necessities of life. Were necessary to have, and it was necessary to be a certain way and to have certain things and do things a certain way. And we can talk about those in detail. When I like to have a conversational interview, not having a long monologue and come across as a preacher, but we can have a more dynamic conversation about that. And explore what those sacrifices were, what I had to let go to finally, live my dream, experience this adventure for the last 20, 30 years. And again, to catch up on what Roland said, to find out in the end that my happiness was not in California, it was not in Hollywood, it was not on the beach in Mexico, it was not in the monastery, and it was not in my bank account, or in my sold screenplays, or in my perfect girlfriend, wife, etc., etc. So those are important life lessons that, chase your dreams, live your dream, but you must know that this is a journey that you will never arrive if you are lost in doing and having. I think that's the takeaway of today's conversation is that, you have to make sacrifices to live your dream, but don't expect any place, person, or thing or accomplishment to make you permanently, lastingly happy. You can completely forget about it. And I'm not saying don't do it, but I refer to Paulo Coelho, who wrote The Alchemist, where the goal and the treasure was where he started the journey. And sometimes people say, well, then there was no point in doing the journey then. Yeah, there was a point, because the journey was the adventure, and life is an adventure. And people say there's no way to enlightenment. Enlightenment is the way. Well, there's no way to your treasure. The treasure is the way. So there we go. So let's start to have the conversation. I don't want to get caught up in a big long monologue.
Lots of gems in there. Roland, I know you have a ton of questions. I do too. I just want to ask one question as we start, sort of as a baseline. How is it possible to have a life that's filled with glamour and glitz and things and still be authentic, still be real? Are they sort of juxtaposing one another, or okay, what are your thoughts?
No, I think it's absolutely possible. The problem is, look, I'm a spiritual teacher, so there has to be always, to every problem or question, there's always a spiritual answer. We're spiritual beings, primarily, and we're just playing human on this playground, planet Earth. So of course it's possible, but planet Earth, as I view it in this moment in the 21st century, and probably for the past 10 or 12,000 years, is a kindergarten planet. Compared to other civilizations in the universe, this is kindergarten. So what the souls that come here to incarnate are playing on this play field, and we get caught up in the doingness. We're doing, and we're trying to do something, to have something, and then we want to be something. So I give you an example. We work hard, or we are recording a record, or we're writing a book, or we're just doing some whatever job. Whatever job is a bakery, or you work at the bank, or you're working in any business, and you want to achieve something, be successful, but you're trying to get it done by doing. Okay, then you accumulate money or things or promotions, and you call it success. And by that, you think by doing, you would have something, like things, like a house, like a car, like a lot of money in the bank account. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I like money. I like cars. I like a nice house. I like to stay in nice hotels. I'm a little bit of I'm a spiritual hippie, but I'm also like sort of a luxury hippie. I like nice dining. I like good wine. I like nice hotels. I like the pleasures of earth. But where we got it wrong, or where we are confused as Homo sapiens, as a species on this planet, is that we're trying by doing to have something and then be happy, be safe, be complete. And that will never, ever happen. So we got it, we turned it upside down. We got it the other way around. And that's where we're going wrong. But this is part of the journey on this action adventure planet, which is it's a school, and I think it's a university. It's one of the compared to other planets, it's a bit of a kindergarten show here. But until we figured it out, all of these confusions and all of these things are necessary to grow as a human being, as a Homo sapiens on Earth, and also grow as a soul in the universe. And once we accomplish certain things and have reached a certain level of enlightenment, so we woke up to confusion and we woke up to reality and some truth, then we will, I think, I don't know when, but this will, I'm sure on Earth will take some time. But we get to a point where we realize it starts with beingness. And if you are being fulfilled already by being connected to the divine, and your Wi-Fi signals are on, then you go into the universal internet. You go into the cosmic internet. You go online with the universe, and then you're already fulfilled. And from that fulfillment, and it's a certain kind of enlightenment. From that fulfillment, now if you start to act from that instead of scarcity and desperation, then things will come to you, but you don't need them anymore. Now they're like, whipped cream on your perfect cake.
I love that. I love that phrase, luxury hippie. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's no exclusive or this or that. I guess we can enjoy both. It doesn't mean that you have to be ascetic to be enlightened or to be spiritual. It doesn't mean that.
Oh, absolutely. I lived in a tent for 4 years. I lived in a tent in Mexico on a beach, and I was in a monastery for 6 months. And I was as happy as if I'm staying at a 4 or 5 star hotel. The thing is, I don't need the 5-star hotel to be happy. Although sometimes I gift that to myself, But when my ego comes in and, I'm becoming a junkie to the 3D matrix again, then this is a sort of a spiritual practice too, to notice when I get addicted to it again, the 3D matrix with all its temptations. And I'm not saying they're wrong or bad. It's just part of this is part of this action adventure matrix. It's like a computer game, but it's 3D, and we are all characters in this movie, in this computer game, and we have the permission to play with that. But the difference between an unconscious being who's kind of like an autopilot, like a biological robot, and a conscious or awakening spiritual human being is to notice it when you fall into the trap again, then get out of it and go like, okay, I got a bit hooked on that 3D temptation game again, and I'm not innocent of it. It happens to me, and I have to reconfigure it. And I go into nature, I go into solitude, I go to the desert, I spend a few days or a few weeks by myself, I come to my senses again. I notice, I've been a bit hypnotized again by the matrix. And then I start all over,
Yeah, because the temptation, it's always around us. And I know for myself, when I start to feel a little down or a little unsure, those temptations look good again. It's like, no, we don't want to go back there.
Yeah. And, I don't know if you the story of the frog and the water, like when you put, there's this guy that put a frog in hot water, and the frog jumped out because the water was boiling. and then he took another how do you call it? A Topf? Was heißt Topf auf Englisch?
A pot.
A pot, yeah. He took a pot with cold water, put the frog in, and then he heated it up slowly. And the water heated up slowly, started boiling slowly. The frog didn't realize and cooked to death. And it's a little bit like that, you know, in this temptation matrix sometimes when the water is being cooked or boiling too slowly to heat, we fall into hypnosis again. We fall asleep again. And you're right. This matrix is a matrix full of temptations. It's very sensual. There's temptations and seduction is everywhere. And it takes a lot of spiritual muscle and wokeness. You have to be very awake and woke to realize it and then not fall into the trap again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. A question I have about a trap, in addition to all the tangible things that are the temptations, people can also be a temptation, and they can tune into our vulnerabilities and sort of reel us out of the world that we're in. Has that happened to either one of you?
Of course.
Okay, good. I didn't want to be alone there.
No. Look. No, we're in the same boat, you know, we're in the same boat. And it's with people, it's interesting because every person carries an energy around them, you know, every person has an energy level, a vibration. And if you have needs that are not fulfilled or your unfulfilled needs, and that person seems to be a candidate to serve or fulfill those needs, there is unconscious parts in us that will go for that. And you know, obviously the relationship thing with the attraction to the other sex, you know, or the opposite sex, obviously as a man, you know, I am not innocent of this. If there's some super sexy hippie yogini coming my way and she's saying the right things and wearing the right outfits, and then we also have certain things in common, I have to be very conscious that my the little animal inside of me, you know, is not going into coma mode. And now I'm being the animalistic Homo sapiens, you know. I mean, that's just part of the journey as well, of course. And then we mix up our energies with that other person, and then it's becoming really. That's why one of my favorite teachers, Eckhart Tolle, always says that relationships are like the toughest spiritual practice, the toughest sadhana on this planet.
Absolutely. I can absolutely relate to this. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I tried, as I said, I tried several spiritual masters meeting wives and relationships. It's hard work. It's hard work.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
Mothers. Yes. Yeah. The greatest gurus are mothers, fathers, so parents, you know, our parents and our loved ones, especially if you have a romantic relationship with someone. You can test your enlightenment right there.
I love the analogy of the pot and the frog and the slowly starting to heat up, because I think, at least with myself, you know, if you see a boiling pot of water or you see obvious temptations, you're going to say, oh, come on, you can't tempt me with that. Yeah. But if it's that slow bringing you in, I remember a quick story. I was out on a date with this guy. This is a long time ago, first date. And he said, I can buy you all the shoes and bags you want. And I said, really? Is that the best that you have to offer? And I actually ended up leaving the dinner because it was so ridiculous. To me, that's the boiling pot of water. That's not the slow boil. And that's what I find. I get drawn into that slow boil.
Oh, you've got to be grateful for those guys, you know. Tricky are the ones that you are getting into a relationship with, and then you're slowly each other to death, you know, because our egoic mind, our ego, and you know, we have a pain body, we have we have all these needs that we have, and sooner or later, all of us have a wounded little child inside of us, you know. Like I have a wounded little boy that didn't get from his father what he wanted. He didn't get from his mother what he needed. And I carry that into adulthood. And as soon as you are old enough to play with, you know, girls or boys, whatever your thing is, and you play with romantic relationships and sexual desires, all those unfulfilled needs you carry them into adulthood and they will surface, they will come up. And I have seen, this is so interesting when I see beautiful, beautiful women, you know, that seem like they have their stuff together. But if you spend enough time with them, sooner or later, that little girl shines through. And then things get very, very tricky. That's why I always say, you know, take care of your inner child, heal your inner child, learn how to truly, authentically, sincerely love yourself. About narcissistic self-love. I'm talking about the soft, sensitive self-love that you truly, truly respect and love yourself the way you expect people to love and admire you. And you do that for yourself. And in that process, you know, grow into self-love and heal your inner child. And then maybe we can integration without sucking each other, without sucking our energy, without using each other. So we have not two halves that complete each other, like in that Jerry Maguire movie. Like, you complete me. No, you have barely, you know, it's like, you complete me. I like, help. You know, it's like, help, run. If a guy says that to you, run. If a woman tells you, you complete me, run as fast as you can. Run as fast as you can. Go for the highway. But if you have two people, run. Don't marry that person. It will be a disaster, because they will use you as their fix, as their daily fix of heroin, you know? So if it's two people that they cleaned out their basement, they work on themselves, there's no guarantees, you know? There's always some stuff that we carry with us. But if you have like two barely complete people meet each other, then you complete each other, because you have two complete beings that are completing each other, and you can share that completeness. But if you have two half people, a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I can absolutely relate to this, because when I started my second marriage, at this time I was very wounded and felt very lonely. I was a successful businessman, but I messed up my marriage. I've messed up my relationship to my kids, and then I met this beautiful supermodel who was also by herself and wounded, and we came together, two half persons, two lost souls. And what we did is just enjoying, traveling, spending money, but no communication, no learning, no conflicts, nothing. And this is not working. Absolutely not working.
Yeah.
I can also relate to
I mean,
that.
you know,
That's not it.
No matter what we talk about today, or, you know, we have to remind ourselves that this planet, in my view, it's my view, it's my truth, what I found out in all my ceremonies and all the spiritual work that I did. I always come back to planet Earth is a playground, and you know, and we come here, and all genres are involved. You know, I used to be a screenwriter in Hollywood, so for me, it's like the analogy to movie making and movie writing. When I look at Earth, Earth is a open air movie theater. It's an open and we're all in our so we're all in our own little movies, and we create a collective movie. And so everything is, all the genres are there. It's action adventure, it's comedy, it's definitely comedy, it's also horror, it's dramedy, it's drama. I mean, it's all the genres are there. I mean, right now it's a mix between a comedy and a horror movie. Sort of. It's becoming a bit weird, but never forget, you know, we read the script. We are writing this. We didn't just read the script. We are co-writing and writing the script, and we're co-producing as we're in this movie. So everything is legit. You know, that's part of the purpose of our planet Earth.
I never looked at it that way in terms of all the different genres of film and TV. And I can see that makes a lot of sense, especially the horror comedy. A question that I have is, we talked at the beginning and also backstage about sacrifices. And I'm wondering, is the most important sacrifice your ego?
Yeah.
Did you guys hear me? It's the most important sacrifice your ego.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, let me be careful with that, because I can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yes and no. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think there's a misconception that we have to kill the ego. I think there's a misconception that we have to kill or sacrifice the ego. I think what we need to do is we need to awaken to the fact that we have an ego and that we're dreaming right now with open eyes. And when you realize that you can grow out of that state of consciousness and then create teamwork with your ego. So the ego becomes the servant of your higher self. Mm-hmm. See, I think it was Albert Einstein. Was it Albert Einstein who said that the mind is a great servant, but a terrible emperor, a terrible, what's his Herrscher of things? Ruler, but it's a great servant. So we need to be aware we have an ego. Most people are not even aware they're having an ego. So for me, I think the greatest sacrifice was that my priority was freedom, independence, living my dream, and having an adventure. And for that, I needed to sacrifice the need for safety, security. I'm not saying everyone needs to live this way, but yeah, there's some things that need to let go. And that's what I needed to let go.
Yeah. And this brings me to the beginning of our show when you say, Jacalyn, we're all on the journey. We're all on a trip. I would say we all got an invitation to a journey, but many people or most people stay in the station and not moving because they're so afraid what can be on the other side. What is like here? I feel safe in the station. I think this deception. We have to get rid of this deception that safety and security is not life. This is not life. So we have to really. I guess most people are not on a journey. They're staying in the station and are so scared to get out of it and get on this train, what we call life, on this life journey.
Yeah, I mean, we have a long way to go,
Absolutely.
The question I have about that is, I met with one of my coaches earlier, as I mentioned, and I feel like most of my life I have not felt safe. And I wonder if that's why I continue to try new things and put myself out there. So is that a bad thing or should you be looking for that safety? Roland, you were just saying people like to feel safe, so they stay in the station. Well, I'm getting on the train.
That's not me. Because I love challenges, I love adventures, I love new things, because I think the only constant we have in life is change. That's the only thing. It's all about change, and I guess that I think you be meaning by successful for me means how flexible can you be to adapt on your situation, meaning. What is coming to you, making the best out of it, not playing a drama, not feeling like a victim or something like that. Just adapt to the situation and make the best out of it. And when you're not attached to the metrics, when you know how to get out of it, and then you can live to the fullest.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I get a lot of messages from people that are saying, "Oh, it's easy for you to say, you're single and you're a life coach and your business is successful and blah blah blah." But what they don't understand, and my response is always the same, is to say, look, I'm the luckiest guy. I'm the luckiest guy on the planet. Everything was taken away from me 5 times. I started a business when I was 25. I went bankrupt at 29. I had $1 million revenue. 2 years later, I was broke. My wife left me. I moved to the States without a permit, without a visa. I started all over again. I messed that one up too. 10 years later, I lost everything again. Then I went to Mexico, started a new life and built a new life. And then 5 years later, the whole thing crumbled again. So I was basically forced and trained by the universe to realize that I can do it again and again and again, over and over again. But yeah, those were all sacrifices, and things were taken away from me to force me to grow into this being that I am here in this very moment. And this is the best Mirko I know. This is the best version of me that I know. So yeah, it's easy for me to, travel France and Belgium and Holland and Spain. You're free, you're making a lot of money. Well, first of all, I earned it. I really earned it. I work a lot and I love what I do. And I also made a lot of sacrifices. But I would say, and I'm not one of those coaches or speakers that think that my way is everyone's way. If I love to be an eagle. I love to be a bird that's flying free. I'm a wild animal. My power animals are the wolf and the eagle and the dolphin and the dragons. Some people they love chicken. And they love to live like a chicken. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I don't hate chickens. Chickens are beautiful birds. It's okay. It's okay to be a chicken. But if you're an eagle, or you have an eagle inside and you're pretending to be a chicken because society turned you into one, that's something you need to look at. You need to do some soul searching, and go within. And if you say, you know what, I came into this incarnation to play it safe, straightforward, and do one thing all my life and just let people tell me what to do, and I don't take any risks, that's okay. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm glad there's bakers out there, and I'm glad there's people that are cleaning up the garbage, and I'm glad there's people who bake bread and serve as waiters in restaurants. I mean, if you love it, go for it. I was a waiter and I loved it when I did it, but when I didn't like it anymore, I stopped.
Mirko, you said something very important. You said some of the people say, yeah, it's easy for you. You have the success. And I can relate to this because people came to me and say, yeah, you have this and this. I always know you're successful. But what people never mention or never have in their mind is the price we paid for it. You have to say the sacrifice. And a very good friend of mine, very successful also in business, said to me, sorry for our US audience, but he said, when you're pregnant as a woman and you get a baby, everybody congratulates you. But nobody asks you how many times you've been fucked for that. And so life is a roller coaster. These are those ups and downs, and people don't see that. The magic is not coming by chance, or it's not luck. It's just hard work. It's hard work on myself. And Jacalyn interviewed me today for her book, and I had almost the same story like you, building up a business, making millions, crashing it down, building up the next, crashing it down. I always had to reinvent myself, but I think every time it made me not more successful also, but made me a better person, a better version of myself. I could learn about all this failure and really lying down in the shit, lying down in the garbage and smell the shit and know this experience, and then getting up, get my shit done and go forward and work on myself. And I guess that this is one of the secrets. We have to pay the price. And most people don't pay the price because they feel so cozy and so comfortable in their comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one question I always loved, and I used to ask it to myself, and sometimes I ask it every few years, is what would I do? Because people come, I don't know what to do with my life, and what I'm doing is boring and I don't like it. I hate my life. I hate my job. But I'm like, well, what do we want to do? I don't know. It's like, what would you do for free? What would you do for free 7 days a week without being paid? That's it. Because I certainly been doing this work for free for many years. And I didn't even know, I wasn't training to be a shaman. I wasn't training to be a life coach. I wasn't training to be a speaker, and now I'm very successful. I mean, I work 8 weeks a year. I make 100,000 or more. I'm not telling this to brag, but I'm trying to make a point. Is that I've been offering this work for many years for free, while I was doing other stuff. And I've been posting texts on social media and videos on social media for many, many years. And I didn't know what I was doing it for. I was just doing it. Maybe I was talking to myself, but I was doing it for free. And the thing, because then I didn't have a motive. I didn't try to manipulate. I didn't try to force it into something, Oh, I'm going to be a life coach. I'm going to be a guru. I'm going to be a shaman, whatever. I've been doing it for years for free without even knowing where it's leading me to. And then all of a sudden, because of the authenticity and there was a lack of manipulation, because I didn't try to manipulate or impress anyone, people started liking it and it became more and more. And now I have a very successful business, if you want to call it that. And it just came about like that because I've been doing it for free for many, many years. And I think there's a big lesson in there for people maybe out there who are not sure what they should do with their life. And I go like, well, what would you do for free? Or what would you do you go tomorrow, you go into your bank account online, give me your bank account number now. And tomorrow you look in your bank account and you have 1 million euros. I send you 1 million euros or $1 million, $1 million. What would you do now with your life other than traveling and buying stuff? But what would you do? What would your activity be on this planet? What would you do without having to work for money? And that's where you find that answer. And I think that's where you kind of tackle it. And that's why you go into finding your true purpose, because that's what your heart wants to do, what your heart calling. Without having to have to pay the bills, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, absolutely. My dear brother, before we come to the end, can you tell our audience about the workshops you're doing, the amazing jobs you're doing? For one, what are they expecting when they're happy enough to get a free seat? Meaning a free seat, there is one, because I know that your seminars are booked very, very well. So what are you exactly doing? What can people expect?
Well, obviously, since I'm working mostly in Europe for now, what people can expect is that I guide you and lead you into tapping into self-love, true self-love, not through affirmations and wishful thinking, but by an experience of true if you that something that we know as samadhi, which is and there's many forms of enlightenment, but that's the main focus of my work now for the last.
Oh my, he just popped off the screen. While we wait for him to come back, a question I have for you, Roland, because I get asked this quite often. People will say to me, I'm doing what I'm doing for free. When should I start charging? And how much should I charge?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always good to do it for free because he's back. Let's
Yeah,
you're back. Okay, so can you repeat, Mirko, what people can expect? You said self-love, real self-love. Yeah, you said real self-love, no affirmations, or real self-love.
Yeah, healing the inner child.
Healing the inner child.
Yeah, not wishful thinking, not reading about it, not affirming it to yourself by talking about it, but actually experiencing it, experiencing self-love, feeling it in your being. And that goes hand in hand with healing your inner child. And on top of that, what I'm most interested now is guiding people, because I lived in Mexico for 4 years and I've been working with the shamans for 12 years now with plant medicine, ayahuasca and others. And I offer it in countries where the Inquisition has not made it illegal yet. Because the Matrix, they don't want you to wake up. They want people to keep sleeping. And I see myself as an ambassador of the plant medicine, ayahuasca or others, because it's a red pill. And I want to, my mission and my goal now is to wake as many people up as possible as long as I'm on this planet. I give out red pills. It's 4 days, it's 7 days. and you will have a samadhi experience. You will see, most likely, based on my experiences, you will heal your inner child. You will go into Christ or Buddha consciousness. Maybe you experience yourself as God, the creator of the universe, and not by reading about it or hoping to understand it mentally, but you have a full-on, authentic war, and that's my mission now. I don't do anything else anymore.
Okay. Brother Mirko, you know that I'm a huge fan of Mama Ayahuasca. I hope I can bring you back one day on the show and we talk a little bit about plant-based medicine, because a lot of people have no idea what it is and what it can do to heal your inner child. And hopefully we can do that again, because I love Mama Ayahuasca.
Oh, it's a blessing. It's a gift, and no wonder they made it illegal in most countries. They do not people to want to wake up. People that are waking up, you cannot manipulate anymore. You cannot lie to them anymore. This whole system is built up on lies and manipulation. It's a slave system. They have enslaved billions of people, and the more people that are waking up, they will throw the TV out of the window and will not be manipulated anymore. And then we would be truly free. But it's a journey. So here I am. That's my mission now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just want to pose one question I had asked when you had dropped off, because I know a lot of people are also interested in this as well. You talked about how, if you could do something for free every day of your life, what would it be? And people have come to me and asked me for guidance that they've been doing things for free. When should they start to charge? And then how much do you charge? So you just said 8 weeks you work and you make 6 figures, which is amazing. I'm sure that didn't just happen right away. You had to figure out this process, I guess.
No,
but
it's a process. I mean, it's the answer is very simple. I used to be married. My dear ex-wife, we're best friends now, Tanya. She was one of those people who are not getting it. She still doesn't get it. But she was stuck in her hamsterrad. How do you say that in English? I don't know.
Treadmill.
The treadmill. Yeah, treadmill. Yeah. So she loves walking dogs. And we moved together to California, and she loves dogs, and I love movies. So we started waiting tables. Hollywood cliche. I started waiting tables because I needed to pay the rent. And while I was waiting tables, in my free time, I wrote screenplays. And luckily enough, I sold in my first year. I was very lucky, to sell a screenplay in my first year to one of the top 10 directors in the world. But the point is, you do several things. And when you realize that you start making money with screenwriting or walking dogs, you can make a little transition there, and you work your way forward. It's a process, like with the spiritual work. When I started out 10 years ago, I was still in Mexico. I was a hippie on the beach. I lived in this community, and I was broke, so I needed to do something. I was like eating rice, beans, and coconuts, and I was like, I need to do something. I was 46. Hollywood was behind me, and I was like, you're 46. What the hell are you doing? So but I was already on a spiritual journey, and I was reading these books all the time, and I was talking to people about it all the time. And a friend said to me, you sound like a life coach. You should be coaching people. And I was like, and you should give workshops. And I was like, me giving workshops, coaching people? And I was like, nah, I'm not. I'm not certified. I don't have a certification. I'm not qualified. But point being is, I started doing it slowly. And, I charged like $50 for 2 hours, or I started $75 for 2 hours while I was doing other stuff, paying the rent. But, it was a transition. And at some point you make enough money with what you love to do, then you let go the other job that you may not really like. So I stopped waiting tables, or I stopped managing the restaurant, because I made enough money with my life coachings and my workshops. And the most important thing, and that's my story, so I can only speak from my truth. I minimized my expenses. I let go of things that I didn't need anymore. So there was no beast, there was no animal that I needed to feed, like the car payments, the house payments, all this stuff. I was living a very minimalistic life, which opened me up to a lot of free space because I didn't need to make a lot of money, because I had very little monthly expenses, because I left a very minimalistic, beautiful life, which meant I didn't have to work a lot of hours. And so I had a lot of free time to follow my dreams. And that's where a lot of people go wrong. They have a job, they make money, then they get a promotion, and then they get a bigger car and more furniture and a bigger apartment, and they just buy more stuff. And you never arrive, you never get out of that. So I think it's a combination of, doing things for free, minimizing or minimizing your monthly expenses and all the bullshit that you have in your life that you don't really need anyway, just makes you miserable. And then you open up all this free time and all this freedom to really spend time on the things that you love to do and your passion. And then when you do that authentically, not being desperate, because when you're desperate, people will smell it. They know, like, oh, you're just talking, but they feel it, that you're being desperate. You're trying to manipulate. You're like, oh, you're pretending to be a coach. You pretend you know what you're talking about, but you don't really, because you haven't practiced it yourself. You haven't tested it on the playground earth. But people sense authenticity. And if they know that you've been practicing the things that you're talking about, you've been practicing the things that you preach, authenticity is a miracle, and people will sense it. And sooner or later, you cannot prevent the success. I promise you. I know there's a lot of coaches out there that are saying the same thing, and a few years ago that annoyed me when people said that. But I'm the living example that I cannot prevent my success. It's just coming to me.
That's fantastic. Thank you. I just wanted to share also, I left my corporate career. Now it's 2 years. I can't even believe it. And started with this business. And obviously I'm not making the money I used to make. I made 6 figures for 30 years. And somebody said to me just the other day, do you realize with what's going on in the job market, you could go back and make double, triple what you used to make? And I said, you couldn't pay me enough money to go back. I'm never going back.
Absolutely.
I'm living my passion now. I never thought I'd be doing this. And
Yes.
I just, that doesn't, those carrots, no, that pot of water that's boiling, I'm not jumping into that again.
No. And I want to be honest. I mean, there was times in my life, when I moved to the States, it was scary, man. It was scary for a while, and when I didn't sell my second script or the third script, and I didn't get my green card first, it was a little bit of a hassle, and so there are, of course, there are risks involved, and of course there will be times where you go like, oh, good Lord, what have I done, But again, I would say that, of course, obviously now looking back at it, I would doing the same thing again. I would be doing it exactly the same. I love my life. It is a crazy adventure. There was a lot of sacrifice. There was a lot of losses. I lost a lot of things. I lost a lot of people. And it was at times very, very scary. But you know what? I wouldn't exchange it for nothing. Yeah.
I think we have 3 happy people here right now. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh my God.
So it's a good energy. Absolutely.
Oh,
Good
I
energy.
love life. I love my life. I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful. And I'm always saying, I'm not just grateful for the success. I make this point in social media all the time where I tell people the things that I lost, and that I'm grateful for it. That my wife left me, that I lost my first business, that, the illness, the divorce, whatever, whatever was there, was all part of it. And it brought me to exactly this moment right now, on this day, at this time. And this is the luckiest, happiest guy. And I'm not saying tomorrow is not going to, some shit is not going to happen. Shit happens to me or in my life all the time, all the time, all the time.
How far in advance do you plan?
Not so much anymore. I mean, right now, yeah, no. I mean, I it's like my last perfect storm my last huge meltdown was 2015-16, when again, like 5, 6, 7 times by now probably, everything fell apart, everything fell away. And I realized that, all these, I looked at a calendar a few weeks ago. I looked at my calendar for 2021. So the things that I had planned for 2021, the whole year I had planned out, which was exceptional. I had not done this in years, but I had planned out the whole year 2021. None of the things I had planned happened. None of the things happened. None. Zero. All the, because of Corona and all that bullshit, But so I was like, I was laughing so hard because I had not planned anything for 3 years. I just go day by day, week by week, month by month, So now I have planned some workshops in June, July, August. That's like 6 months from now. That's like huge planning for me. I don't plan further than August, We'll go from there.
Oh, there's something to be learned from that for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I sense there's so much more that we can discuss that we would love to have you back.
Oh, I love it.
Fantastic. I'm going to spotlight you once again for people who are listening on the radio and they cannot see your banner. Can you share how should people reach out to you and who would you like to contact you?
Well, look, if people want to work with me, I give workshops in the Netherlands. I haven't been to the States in a while, so I don't know how much of a international or European audience you have. But if I'm very active on Facebook and I'm very active on Telegram. So people can find me on Facebook and Telegram. And obviously, for the past 4 years, I have been in Germany exclusively almost. So most of the content is in German, but I know Facebook is translating it. If you want to, you just have to push a button. And you can contact me anytime. If you want to go on a workshop with me with a plant medicine in the Netherlands, where it's luckily enough legal, you can contact me, and we do retreats for international retreats. So the retreats will be held in English, obviously, and if you're interested in working with the plant medicine with psychedelics, and you want to have a samadhi, an authentic samadhi or enlightenment experience, then reach out to me, let me know. And if you have any questions about self-love or healing the inner child, I don't do so much personal coachings anymore because I'm a bit lazy by now. I do my 8 or 10 workshops a year and that's it. But if someone intrigues me and I find that person intriguing, interesting, or I feel like they would benefit from a one-on-one coaching with me, I could find it in myself to do that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. It's been lovely having you here. Someone is writing in that they have a song going out in the Netherlands. Okay. I'm not sure who that is, but we definitely have a global audience. So please do reach out. I'll put up your banner once again. And for people just joining, if you missed the show, you can watch it many ways, but the two I suggest, go over to our website, usaglobaltv.com, and to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV. All right. Thank you so much for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Prada. Have a good time in Spain, and we talk soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Learned so much from him.
Yeah, I have goosebumps.
I know.
I know. I see so many parallels, with them building up, missing it, and that's why I love him. He's a very authentic person, and he speaks from his heart, and he knows exactly what he's doing. And he, as we said today, you have to be down, you have to be in the shit to get up and to help people. And life is a roller coaster, and you have to experience it. It's not only honeymoon the whole time.
Roland, when you think about your life, and you mentioned the businesses that you made successful and then they fell apart, was there a common thread that it's something that you could look back on? I'm just thinking for people who are in various stages of their life. I realized the things that didn't work out for me were basically because of me not believing in myself, not having confidence, and then making decisions that were coming from a place of insecurity for me. What about for you?
Well, I was reflecting many times about that, and what I found out for myself is I messed it up always because I got bored. because I always found out what I can do in the business. It can be, I can make it bigger, make more money. And I said, yeah, make more money is nice, but it doesn't make me more happy or even make me happy. So I get bored of it, and I said, well, crushed it. I lost the interest, did nothing, maybe had any addictions or whatever at the moment was on my screen of an addiction. And then I realized, oh, get up again, move your ass and start something new and reinvent yourself and do something new. This was always my pattern in the past, because I was not chasing money, but I found out it's boring. I don't learn anything more. It's boring, and I crushed it. I crushed it. I lost my interest. And of course, when you lost your interest, your focus is not there, then sooner or later your business will crash, of course, because you don't pay any attention to it. And but two businesses of myself crashed because I made a mistake, especially in my early years. And I think many people, I see this in many new entrepreneurs who started businesses. I tried to do everything by myself. And I learned the lesson, what are my strengths, what are not my strengths, and the stuff I don't like to do, I'm not good in it, give it away, outsource it, find people who can do it for you much better. Of course, it costs money, but the time you save, you can invest this time and build up customers and focus on your business. That's what I learned. So part of my failure was in the beginning in my early years was I tried to do everything by myself, and this is not working.
That's a great tip for people out there. Now, one thing, last comment before we close out. So you just touched on something that not everybody has the money to hire people. So let's say you find the money, right? You make some sacrifices. How do you know with whom you should trust that money?
Oops. My goodness, I lost a hell of money because I gave the money to the wrong people, the wrong stuff. But it was my decision. Well, the point is, when you're open person and you it always happens that you find somebody or you meet somebody or you attract somebody who doesn't good to you, who is bad to you. This is part of the game. This is part of the game. You meet good people, you meet bad people. But with all the years and all the experience, you learn it more and more, and then you find it out. And if you can trust somebody or you can trust somebody about it, it's by experience. But I made mistakes. I lost money because I gave people money and they disappeared, or it was a bad investment, whatever it is. But at the end, I'm not blaming everyone. It was me. It was my decision to give it away.
Yeah, that's a great point, because you're taking accountability, you're being responsible for it. And I think it also helps take us to the next level, because there's key learnings there. And then we meet the next person and we work with them, and hopefully, that partnership works out as well. Yeah,
but you only learn from the mistakes, from your failure. You only learn. You can give up, or you can learn from it and make it better.
Definitely. Thank you. I'm going to spotlight you. And again, if you can share with our audience how they should reach you and who should reach out.
Okay, the easiest way to reach me is go on my website. It's my name, Roland Friedl. I will spell it for you, especially for the guys who are listening on the podcast. Is ROLANDFRIEDL.com, RolandFriedl.com. This is my main website, and from there, when you're interested in strengthening your leadership, strengthening your organization, you can link there to my business website, to spartanperformance.com. You can find it on the website. If you're interested in our men's group, and you're a man and you want to get your masculinity and you want to share and learn from other men, then you can link from there on Sparring for Men on the men's group website. If you want individual coaching, then you can go to Wireless Life Rocks website. So on the main website, RolandFriedl.com, you find everything. Whom I want to contact me is people who are really committed to change their life. Not only because they heard about it, it's trendy to be self-aware. No, people who are really committed to make a better version of themselves, and really start working on themselves. Not fixing somebody else, fixing their kids, fixing their partner, fixing their stuff. No, people who want to work on themselves and committed, feel free to contact me. I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you, how we can work together, how I can be your sparring partner to make you a better version of yourself. And I'm very happy. I would like to announce it for the next show. I will do for the next show next Tuesday. I invite you when you're interested in about having a wireless life. So my motto is always: the world is my office, the world is my home. If you're interested in being independent, traveling more, living a fulfilled life, maybe change your job or whatever, you just come to our next show on Tuesday. I will talk about this.
Wonderful. And also you can go to our website, USA Global TV, and you can meet our team. Roland's picture is there on that first page, and he's also under our Talking Heads page. And we are so excited, Roland, because next week you're going to be starting your first presentation as a talking head. So I'm going to spotlight you once again. Can you just share with our audience what they can expect to learn from you during the course of your role as a talking head expert?
So the first model with the first 6 episodes is for leaders in organizations or leaders who run their own business. You will learn about leadership, about setting goals, about action plan, how to do effective team meetings and stuff like that. And it's all from my own experience, and what I'm teaching since many years to international leaders from worldwide corporations and also to startups. So if you're interested in being more successful in your business, being more effective, then join us on Talking Heads. I'm very happy for that. And by the way, thank you, Dr. Jacalyn, for this amazing opportunity for myself and all my colleagues who to share their wisdoms and their experience on this amazing channel, this amazing platform, US Global TV. I'm very helpful. I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful, and it's an honor and a pleasure to work together with you. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Roland. That's very nice, and I love working with you and being friends with you. It's been wonderful and so insightful. So thanks again for everything that you do to bring these fabulous people to the show.
It's a pleasure.
All right. I look forward to chatting with you again soon. Enjoy the rest of your evening there, and I will talk to you soon.
All the best to the US from Europe. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Wow. What another wonderful guest with so many fantastic insights. If you miss any of the show, again, go over to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV, or to our website, usaglobaltv.com. I am excited to share that we have this week 21 shows now that we'll be broadcasting. So if you missed the shows from yesterday, where can you go? It's a quiz. Yes, USA Global TV on YouTube or the website. And stay tuned for the rest of our dynamic shows with our team the rest of the week. If you'd like to be a guest, we'd like to hear your story and give you a safe place to share. So you can go to our website again, usaglobaltv.com. What gets repeated gets remembered. And you can go to book your session. All right, we'll see you again soon, friends. Thank you, Roland. Great seeing you. And we'll be back tomorrow. Bye.